Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Shocking Jay's podcast on Attack on Titan Season 3, the first part. The first 6 episodes, right?
12.
First 12 episodes. Shows how much I can count.
First part, first half. Second part will be another 12.
Cool. So we've got our podcast on anime discussions. As always, I am one of your co-hosts, Bren, and with me is Ryan.
Hey, hello. I'm sick.
Yeah, Ryan's sick, so
If I sound weird, that's why.
it's my job to lead the discussion tonight. And I don't know, Ryan, how you wanted to start anything, but I just wanted to... I've got a list of things that I wanted to discuss.
You're the host.
I'm the host. And I had a list of things I want to discuss. You let me know. We can talk about it a little bit if we go off. There's just some things that I wanted to touch base with on. And just to start everything off, I've got the plot first. And this is the first 12 episodes of Season 3, which...
Yeah, so not whole, just, halfway through.
Halfway through,
big
but...
break towards, big break until April, so good
Yeah.
time to...
Good time to collect our
Recap.
thoughts and give a discussion and recap on what we thought and how we
Last
viewed.
season was only this many episodes. So
That's true.
kind of weird.
Yeah, and I'll start with coming from season 2 into season 3. Watching season 2, I had a lot of problems with the pacing and was not a big fan. Kind of lost heart and fanship of Attack on Titan. That completely changed in season 3. Love the pacing. Great show. I'll just start with, gosh, it was just one of the best anime seasons I've ever seen. And
Yeah, so far, it's really, really good. I like it.
It's phenomenal.
I don't remember season 2. It's only been a year. We talked about it on this channel,
Yeah.
but I don't remember it that much. But I think that just tells you why I didn't like it that much. It's got 2 or 3 really cool episodes. Even I was gonna say moments, but episodes, but the rest of the episodes are kind of okay.
Yeah, and to give context, we did watch it week by week, which really meant the pacing was...
Yeah, I'm sure it
Something
helps
that we...
if you didn't watch it week by week, but
Yeah, if you binge watch it, it's obviously a lot more bearable, I'll say, or it's just probably a better experience to binge it.
I thought about it. We started watching this on Toonami, and we've watched it week by week since episode 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So since 2014 is when it aired on Toonami, and we've watched. That's how we've been watching new episodes.
Yeah. So, we've been watching the dub on Toonami. The dub's pretty good. I like the voice actors. They do a pretty good job with...
This season especially, I think everyone I think Aaron is a really good job, and Irwin,
Oh.
J. Michael Tatum,
Oh, Ervin? Yeah.
Irvin, I don't know.
Whatever his name. Yeah.
I think there's no V in there. It's a W. I don't know. Irwin. Sure.
Yeah, but if it's
Irvin?
German,
I know.
yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, his character was super. I mean, to not just jump all over the place and get ahead of myself. We'll touch on characters, but basically jumping from season 2, season 3. Again, we watched week by week, mostly, and it was just a complete bounce back, totally different experience from season 2.
Feels very different, even from the rest of the show.
Yeah.
All the episodes before it just felt, really different. They say that a lot in the show, too. Just looking at you boys, looking at you kids, you look so different. And then they say it's it's been 4 months. So much has happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's... right off the bat, first episode, you're just, sucked in. And you're just, along for the ride. And it's you get on a bullet train, and you're just, soaking up everything. They just jump right into action and development and the story and the plot and the characters. And, it was yeah. So, very happy. My fanship has been renewed in this series, which I'm excited about. And not to just sing praises the whole time. There are a couple things that I, not to nitpick, but just kind of that was something I thought they could have done better, or something that I thought like was not as important and they didn't have to touch on, but overall outstanding, just phenomenal season. Great way to bounce back from season 2. First, let's jump on the plot. And Ryan, what are your thoughts on the plot?
It's kind of interesting because like where we end up is just like where we were in season 2. I think of where it's just like, all right, we're going to the basement, and like or maybe that was earlier. Maybe that was this season 2. Like a couple times have been like, yeah, I'm pretty sure in season 2, right? They were like, we're going to the basement. Oh wait, something else is turning.
Oh yeah,
like,
it's always just like basement, something else. Basement.
So it's funny that's how this one ends.
Yeah.
It's just like we're going there. Again, it's like that. We just end up. But this time they mean it. This time it's.
This
really
time it's actually.
This time it seems like it's actually going to happen.
A clear objective, yeah.
Yeah, this was a lot about like Historia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like earlier.
And I mean, it's part of the. You know, a lot of these characters get a lot of background, and I don't want to say like fleshed out, but there's just like because I feel like you kind of already know their characters, but their depth is just very much increased because of how you like the more you learn about their past, you know, and understanding why they are the way they are, which is really cool. And then the more that they understand about their past, that actually changes them in the present, which, you know, rightfully so, as they learn about things that they.
A lot of reveals this season. With like, you know, Aaron's dad, and like.
Historia's family and.
Like Titans in general, kind of.
Yeah.
With like they called the coordinate the other Bertolt and
Bertolt,
and who's the armor titan?
Reiner and
Bertolt. They're like, oh, we gotta get the coordinate or whatever. And the Beast Titan dude. But like whoever, I don't know if there's another name for it, but whatever Aaron has, he's got like the bloodline of the king. And like we learned about that of like, oh, okay, there's like
a lot of stuff just
like,
I know it's gonna
like
be
this
a
family
tough
line
to, like,
who can just like erase memories. Like what?
Yeah, you can scream and
stuff.
Well, like one of them you can erase memories, and like Aaron's is you have that screech. So if you can combine them, you can do mass.
Well, I thought it
population,
was like,
or does Aaron already have the erase?
Aaron
memory?
has a power, and he can scream. But like I thought, yeah, I don't even remember.
Maybe
like,
he does have
well, they said I remember at one point he has a power that he can't use. I don't remember what it is. There was some power that he had that he can't use because he's not of the bloodline. That's why they wanted to eat him, because they're like, we want that power back. But your dad stole it. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what
I know, there's like so much like story.
They threw a lot
and
of
yeah. Which is awesome. And we'll obviously not get to all of it, but I think we'll definitely dive in some of the deeper chunks that we enjoyed. And, you know, to touch on that plot line of what we figure out in terms of bloodlines and like Titans and stuff in general, and how it relates to the overarching picture that's going on in this world, where we do understand and get to know, okay, what is a Titan a little bit better, and
well, it's like the history of like the city, or, you know,
right.
like their area, and
yeah.
Titans in general. It's just like, oh, you know, because it's like
we find out that there's
it's only been 100 years or whatever since the walls were built,
and like, nobody has memories before that.
And it's like, oh, okay, this is why.
That makes sense, because they're erasing people's memories, and they're doing it on purpose to create a utopia.
Yeah.
You know, they're using these powers that
we don't know like exactly
the bloodline has.
Yeah, I guess they want to like, this is the way to peace or something.
That's what they
I don't remember. Yeah.
That's what they've revealed, that the person with the God Titan powers or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's what they believe.
Oh. Yeah, I think it's just that. Remember, like, someone takes on the ideology of basically it becomes the first one. That's what Aaron has. That's why no one's like that. Is because it's in Aaron. But, like, nothing's happening because he's not part of that bloodline.
Oh.
So, no, those eyes, remember in the later episodes where they showed the backstory, and so that's in him now. But, like, it's not activating because he's not the bloodline.
That's really interesting. I wonder if his dad had to know that.
Oh yeah, his dad did know that. That's why he did what he did. That's why
Knowing that he
them.
wouldn't be affected.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't bloodline. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So probably he's.
I think he gave it to him specifically because he's like, I'm giving it to you so that they can't so that like, because if he gave it to him and it did work on him, then like what's the point?
Right. Then he would just be okay with everything. That's true. And that's part of like the. I mean, you find out that Aaron's dad was like, the Rice family, and you find out that Aaron's dad is like, killed people and like took this power and whatever, and you're kind of like back and forth between like who's good and who's bad and like who's doing the right things.
It's all gray.
It's become super gray, which is kind of fun for the audience.
They talk about that in the beginning with like the Levi and all the other kids, and they're like, we gotta kill people now. Because they're fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the first time where it's like,
scouts.
We're fighting each other. That was the whole plot for the first few episodes was like, the king is a sham. All this, we're going backwards.
Yeah, he's a puppet. Yeah, and as
that was like my favorite. I mean, not my. I like this was like, that was like what I think was so good and like propelled it in this direction. It was like my favorite part of this season is just like how different the plot is.
Yeah.
It's not just like running away from Titans. Like Innos get to the basement too, but like fighting other Titans, like fighting Bertolt, like it was cool. It was like, oh, okay, we found out who they are, but it's like we don't know anything about them. We're just fighting them still. Like not much plot development in season 2.
Yeah, it's just kind of like same shtick, different episode.
Yeah.
And this one.
They showed us stuff, but it's kind of like they didn't give us answers.
Right.
This was the first time where it's like, okay, here's actually like some lore.
They just pounded on the lore in this between like, what the wall is made of. Like Aaron has these powers that like crystallize things now.
I think last season they said the wall's made of. At the end of season 1, it was like there's a Titan in the wall.
Right, but they
covered it with a blanket. We never went back to that.
Yeah, but you knew that there was mystery involving the wall and Titans, but there was this like, they gave us a little bit more, and they gave us answers but like you said in last season they just gave you a lot of questions. In this they've really just packed on like the lore and the answers of like, oh, why is this the case? Why why does nobody have memories, right? Why the king and the government, or like the few people that rule over it, why they're trying to keep hold of everything, you know what I mean? And they're like sought after, and then we're introduced to these bloodlines and these clans and these families that have certain powers, and ones that can inherit Titan powers or
I think it
unlock Titan powers or whatever.
It's so cool.
It's super fascinating, and a lot of it is as you watch episode by episode, you're like taking it all in, but looking back on it as like a 12 episode thing, you're like, there's so much that we got exposed to,
which makes it even easier to compare because we're only talking about 12 episodes. It's like season 2 was 12 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, look at how different,
drastic. Yeah, you start with like first couple episodes, like Levi is fighting this guy Kenny, who's just like straight up killing off scouts.
That was like the crazy, like what a way to start the season. It's like,
I know,
we mean business.
And
the animation, it's like, insane.
So I think you said it well. They started with these episodes that were very different in style and very refreshing from like, okay, what's the drive in this episode compared to other seasons, and they just took that and completely propelled them in a way that they kept building on like, okay, what's the rule? Who's ruling over the people in the walls, and kept developing that story of like, okay, it was a puppet ruling, and then they had a military coup, and then from the military coup they went back to the bloodline monarch or patriarch or matriarch in this case, and like they didn't just like bounce around. I mean, they did bounce around, but they kept developing a lot of different things that they introduced, which was really cool. You didn't feel like you were jumping from Like you found out one answer and then you went to another thing and found out another answer. They were doing a good job of like focusing on one thing,
Connecting
but also
everything.
like developing everything else and have it be in tune, you know, and be in.
They did a lot and it flowed really well.
Yeah, and everything kind of kept pace with each other, which was cool. And they did a really good job of that. And, you know, to start getting into characters more, I think, because there's, you know, that's where a lot of it starts. Of like, you learn about, oh, Levi has this past, he knows this character named Kenny, and then later you find out that like Kenny's what's it, Ackerman? He's an Ackerman,
yeah.
and then like Mikas is an Ackerman, and Levi's an Ackerman, and you're just like, all these people are Ackermans, and they have this power, and you're like, what the heck?
Do Ackermans have? I think they hinted at like something of like, oh, Levi said to him, have you ever felt that drive or something that like.
They supposedly have like
a power up or something. I don't know, but like they don't really. They're the main thing they were known for is that they're the one bloodline that can resist their memories can't be wiped from.
Oh
the
yeah,
Rice
yeah,
family.
yeah.
That was the big thing with the Ackermans. It's like,
and they serve the Rice family.
They have been. There's not a lot of them because they were hunted. They were killed.
They were prosecuted.
I do want them to kind of explain
persecuted, not prosecuted, but
because like. It's just kind of weird. I kind of want them to explain like the powers thing, like
yeah, and like why is it's just their
like,
family line?
Yeah, like I'm fine with it just being like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I kind of want like a little explanation. Like I want like you don't need to go like crazy origin of like everything, but like what's like how did that come about? Is there magic somehow in this? Is it weird science like? Because it's been like kind of science based almost with the Titans because we know Aaron just injected himself. You know, like this isn't like wizards and stuff, but like this family bloodline can just erase memory. Like that's very like that's very like what?
Yeah, so it's maybe a little really bit more of like
which I think is cool and I like it. I just kind of like I don't. What I'm saying is I don't know if they're gonna give us that. But I want them to.
Yeah, I would like to know a little bit more in depth.
Because it did come out of like nowhere.
Yeah, well, it's like learning about powers and stuff, and you know, it's like if Superman, super broad example, but if Superman had these powers, and you're like, oh, how does he have these powers? You know, it's like, oh, well,
he's an alien. Okay, got it.
Yeah,
you know? It's like
he's an alien, different sun, therefore he gets like more power, you know, instead of just like, hey, he's you know, but it's like explaining what the suns do for him as opposed to just saying he's not human.
Well, yeah, it's like if there was a show focused on, you know, going through Superman example, the Daily Bugle, and then like 2 seasons or whatever into a long way into that show, Superman just appears, and it's like, okay, this is cool, but who is this guy?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just that. I think they will give us some sort of like answer on like the bloodline power thing, but
I want that like given a little bit more detail. Weird thing.
It's like the Rice has that power, okay, and then the Ackermans can resist it. Why just that? You know? Yeah. We must get some weird backstory of like what.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll explain it more, but that's been really cool with the Ackermans. Levi's character is awesome as always. Like, you learn why he's the way he is and like how he grew up, you know, basically almost starving. And
not part of season 3, and I watched it earlier, but during this season you watched the OVA, which is about Levi's backstory.
Oh yeah.
Which I mean, like,
you learn
like, it's not like, you know,
you learn that Kenny took like,
but yeah,
raised him though.
Yeah.
Essentially,
the OVA was more like, here's how he joined.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how he came with the Scouts.
Right. That was OVAs.
Yeah.
And season 3 was like, hey, Kenny raised him.
Yeah, and season 3 was like, here's how he actually like, there's like here's how he became like, here's how he went down this like violent path.
A hunter. Yeah. A killer or whatever. And so you learn that about Levi, and then that explains a lot about his character, which is just continues to be, you know, such a. I love that like his character has changed but hasn't, you know, like he's changed and you can tell that there's like, I don't know how to explain it, but like a ball rolling of based on like him meeting seeing Kenny again, interacting with Kenny again, and like seeing like Aaron and Mika, like these younger people like interact with him.
I know.
You're starting to
I thought
see
about
like
that of like how old is he compared to them?
Right.
I don't think it's too much older. It's got to be
No.
like 4 years.
I don't know. I think a little bit more.
Well, because we saw in the OVA, you see him join the Scouts.
Mm-hmm.
This is just like the one thing I remember of like time passing is they went out on an expedition. They're like the 53rd expedition or whatever. I gotta look up the expedition. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
that's how I was like.
Where he started with those, and then where they were. Yeah, but I really enjoyed his character, and then Mikasa she doesn't really get much development in this season.
No, yeah, Mikasa and Armin were kind of like.
Yeah, they were kind of pushed off to the side for a while.
This was very focused on like new things, and then like Aaron.
It was like
And
yeah,
then
well, like
Aaron
new
and-
stuff, like the Ackermans Levi fell into Kenny. Aaron learned a lot about him and like his father, which was crazy.
Yeah, we had that episode about his father.
And then
Yeah.
like you were talking about at the beginning, Historia and the Rice family,
Mhm.
which basically Aaron's family, Kenny's family,
I know,
Rice
like,
family.
We didn't even see like we saw Bertolt and Rhina for like a second, but like we didn't even see like Amir or like any of that. Really.
Yeah.
But like I think we will.
I think because it's all gonna like
I don't
tie
want
in.
to. I know some things from the manga, like little things. I'm not like huge spoilers, but I know a couple things. I don't want to. I don't want to say anything else.
Yeah, say
But
we'll
Just
we'll get
like
there
stuff
later.
that'll happen this season later, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of.
So character,
It felt-
was there like a character that you really liked that stood out as that you like staying the same, or like you like their development or whatever, but was there anybody? For me,
I don't know. I kind of just like. Yeah, I really liked the episode. What's his name? Kenny.
Kenny.
They had a Kenny backstory episode, but I really liked the. I think I have it up right here yet. Uri, Rice, the other guy in the backstory, who had the eyes and the blood.
Oh, the one that Kenny served, that like
I
spared
thought
his
he was
life.
a really cool character.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was like really interesting. Of like,
Mhm.
and well, yeah, and Kenny too. I thought was interesting, but like their discussions, I thought those were cool.
Yeah.
Of like just talking about like their like both of their like ideologies and like how like yeah like how Kenny like decided, I don't know, just like all that, that whole backstory episode I thought was super cool of like how Kenny got to where he is here,
Yeah.
of like leading that whatever, like leading the military people.
He had like his own
He-
faction,
Yeah, he's not his own squad
like
and
mercenary
stuff.
faction.
Yeah, it was interesting to like see how like weirdly corrupt the government is. It like because it's not even like because there's the king with the puppet and the people.
Yeah, the
that
four
group of
people that.
and like that's like okay, yeah, like that's not like when you think of corrupt government, it's like yeah, it's something like that. But then there's also like this weird stuff with like the king and like it inhabits people, and it's like the way they talk about it, it's almost like it's just the king. It's just the king in like possessing people essentially. But like
Yeah.
maybe it's not fully that, but it kind of seems like yeah. So I thought all that was I don't know. I just thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because whenever
character-wise,
like that person gets eaten, they essentially just like that person who gets eaten just turns into whoever they ate. It's like the first person just inhabiting that body.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of what their character is and like how they view the world and what they do with their powers. So
Yeah, that's why I thought it was so funny to have like such a opposite. That's why I thought their discussions were so cool because it's like Kenny's like almost like the opposite of like I don't know if it's like order and chaos, but it's like they have such like differing views of like the world.
Yeah, and Kenny just like wants that power just to like experience.
Yeah, and like Kenny wanted it, and then he found out like, oh, you need to be a part of the bloodline. That was yeah, it was.
Yeah, but he didn't like want
Yeah.
it for power. He just like wanted to.
He wanted to know what like peace felt like or something.
Yeah.
Because he was like, I see a world of peace. The king was like, and he's like, and I think Kenny was like, I could never see that, so I want what you have to see. What
Just
you
to see, yeah, not for the power, just to see what he sees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
thought that was
I thought that was super interesting. So I know it's not
Yeah.
like a character, but yes, that's why it's weird. It's like, is that like how much of that is just one dude, the first king?
mm-hmm.
It's
got to be like mostly the first king.
Yeah.
Inhabiting like whoever that new body or like host is, because yeah, you, like those eyes. They get those eyes, and that bloodline just.
Well, that's the thing. We really didn't see anyone else talk with the eyes.
That's true.
We saw the girl, his daughter, his sister, Historia's
sister, yeah.
But we never saw her after she got the eyes.
Yeah.
Like, we saw her, like, preaching to people, and he talked about it. He's like, yeah, I saw the same eyes in her. She said the same stuff. But we never actually heard, like, there was no discussion. Like, no one else had, like, a...
There was no character interaction.
Yeah, and they're gone now. It's in Aaron.
Yeah.
So, like, we didn't actually see anyone else with it, really.
Yeah.
So, we can't kind of know.
That's true, yeah.
So I think the first king is interesting. I think he might be my favorite character.
Yeah.
Or Yuri, or how much, because I don't know how different it'll be.
Yeah.
Because I am curious, it's not just like, assuming the first king isn't like this weird like deity or something. It's like a person, So it's like, they may be like super corrupt or weird or like, I don't know. I hope there's like something to that of like, that's an actual person speaking. They actually believe in some weird way that like, I don't know. I can see it being like lame, but I don't know. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
So far.
No, for sure.
It doesn't seem like they're just some generic like, I want to rule the world. Like, I see peace as everyone dead. Because that's kind of a, I don't know, a trope, but like that's something that's other villains
right
become. I'm just like, I want to kill everyone. That's the perfect world.
Yeah. Or
it doesn't
like
seem
Thanos.
like he doesn't want to kill everyone, but like, yeah, it's kind of like Thanos of like having just like making sure
lawful evil, where it's like
making sure everything
I'm gonna do
runs
evil
correctly,
things to justify good things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But like making sure society stays how it is and not letting it expand into something and destroy itself.
right.
But it is very similar to Thanos in that way.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to kill everyone. He just wants to like.
He wants to keep the sample size small enough so that
It really
people
does make me think.
he
I don't
can
know
control
if
them.
we'll ever get this, but like, this is. I have to imagine we're on Earth. This is like a very small part of Earth. What does the other side of the world look like?
In this world, I know it's such a tiny part because I talk about the ocean and like
we're still,
is there
I don't
just
know,
like
in the
one
path.
country?
Like you'd think, like I want to, like, is there like another border around like their walls of just like Titans? So like no other people have come in,
Mm-hmm.
Like Aaron's dad. But like I don't know.
There's got to be
Like,
other people settlements, especially with like Rhina and Bertold, and like we find out like the Beast Titan at the end, and to touch on him real quick, like we see him at the end, and he's got like that golden hair and the glasses, and it somewhat reminds us of Erevan's dad, which would be such a trip because Erevan's dad was like arrested for preaching what was like the history that was erased from people's minds or whatever.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like that's him, but like, is it?
All of like the context clues of his aesthetic makeup. When I say makeup, I don't mean like makeup, but just like how he looks makes you think, oh, Erevan's dad, blonde, glasses, and a little shaggier because he's been living outside the walls for a while. And so, but the whole like Beast Titan has been a mystery since season 2, and so you finally get like the huge cliffhanger, like, oh dang, Beast Titan, was with Rhina and Bertold, right? And just like, and because we know the Beast Titan is like better than or like stronger than the Armored Titan and the Colossal Titan. So you're like, who is it? Who is that? And
he beat Rhina. He beat the Armored Titan.
Yeah, who is he and what's he trying to do? Like what are his goals?
I think they were literally sitting on top of the basement, and they're like, "We want Aaron. We want the coordinate."
Yeah.
For the King's power, but like, what are they gonna do with it? Do they just think they're gonna get the King's power and they don't know it's not gonna work?
But they already seem more powerful than.
Well, Aaron's got the Titan power of commanding them.
Oh.
So they also want that, I think.
But they're already more powerful than him. They just want his power?
Yeah, they want that. Yeah, no, we don't know what's up with them. Because they're like, that's what was like, also kind of the reveals that they're not the government. They're not like Rhina and Bertolt, they're not with the corrupt king. Like that's
yeah,
not,
and
those
like
aren't the same story.
The Titan power is associated with the king's bloodline. They're totally different.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what we're
the
getting
government
from this season.
isn't operating Rhina and Bertolt and Amir and that stuff.
Yeah.
But like the way they talked about it almost seems like they were. So like I don't know. There's so much to this.
Yeah, there's a lot, which is why the rest of season 3 is so exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And I look forward to, what is it, April?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought there were a lot of good characters, and a lot of it was just like getting more background and their character becoming more detailed and in depth, which was fun. I liked Aaron's like character development because he started from like just this pity party to useless, and then finally started to like regain some confidence and like purpose and stuff because yeah, it's
well, there's that whole thing with like
it's heartening to see that
her dad, like Historia, like he wanted to die to give the power to her because he's like, oh yeah, they kept saying, they're like, yeah, because we want to get rid of all the Titans, and then she's like, wait, why haven't you done that already? You know, like what? I'm not. And I love that scene of she just like she's about to like inject herself to become Titan Historia, and she throws on the ground. She's like, you know what? I'm just done with this. This is stupid. Like I'm done with this. Aaron, let's get out of here.
Yeah. So I liked Aaron's development to actually, yeah, it's just good to see his character again being confident and.
I liked it. He talked about, he's like, I took this power for granted and thought I was the one. But he's like, I'm just some guy. Like, like, I'm not a chosen one. I just happen to have...
That's actually, like pretty... It's pretty sad and depressing. Like, the whole thing with the... What's his face? The ex-Commodore or whatever.
Commandante, yeah.
Commandant, yeah. Like, the old guy who used to lead the scouts. And you're just like... Oh, and the fact that, like, they can touch each other and, like, memories come back. Crazy. Mm-hmm. But, the old commandant or whatever. And you're just like, dude, that's so sad that, like, they're talking about chosen ones and stuff. And it's just like, Aaron's like, oh, I'm not a I mean, it's sad, but it's also, like, the obviously there's been, like, quote-unquote chosen ones, like, through the arc of, like, the 100 years that they've been in the walls and stuff. But, like, that really hasn't done them any good, So you have to think, what is a chosen one? Why is a chosen one special? Like, is a chosen one actually special? I mean, it's not hard to look at other shows and see that, like Star Wars, Anakin was the quote-unquote chosen one, As said by Obi-Wan Kenobi. I know there's controversy over who's the chosen one, but, in the grand scheme of things, like, are chosen ones actually the most important people? Well,
that's the thing. He thought that's what they're saying. He isn't a chosen one. That's what he was like. He's like, I'm just some guy. He's like, I just got
does that mean
power.
he's less important than a quote unquote chosen one?
Yeah.
And that's my question: does that mean he's less important than a quote, or less impactful, or less powerful than a quote unquote chosen one?
Like, can I still make a difference?
Right.
I thought that scene was so cool. Of like the kids like seeing when Rod Rice was a Titan and he attacked, and Aaron saying, no, this time there's something, like, they were just like us, but now there's something different, and he turned into a Titan, like, started running, like, I don't know, that was a cool scene of like him being like, no, I can. That was him being like, we are making a difference.
Yeah.
Like right here.
Yeah. And that was, it's like, nice. He's finally, like, there's some life in this character.
It's like a super depressing world,
Yeah, it is.
They talk about it all the time of like, what's the point? That was the whole thing of some of the characters were like, dude, what's the point? Like,
yeah.
Titans are just going to come and eat us one day,
Yeah. So, to see life in characters is is super refreshing, and you definitely get
It's like we have a
taste
chance
of that.
We can win, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of what this is.
Can make a difference, can make a better world. Yes. And that's inspiring. So I liked that, you know, and that was good to see. But overall thoughts as we start to wind down here on this season 3 discussion podcast. I've talked about pacing. We've talked about pacing, plot, characters, you know, the overall difference between season 2, season 3. We've talked about like the world and their, you know, like the setting in the world and like where it takes place in. There's a lot of confusion still around there of like, oh, which wall are they in? Which wall is like, you know, I'm sure if like you're really good with all
sometimes, or it's like we don't know where that, like, you know, when Rice was attacking, they explained it eventually, but like,
right,
it's like, what's happened?
Yeah,
that's why at this point I'm just like, you know what? They'll just tell me, and I'll just, you know, believe them because you know, they're not going to be wrong.
And in this season, you don't need to like keep track of everything to enjoy the episodes. It's more of just like a, hey, I want to flesh things out in my own mind.
In season 2, that was super confusing because they did like a fake out because it was like there's a hole in the wall. Oh wait, no, there isn't.
Yeah. And in this season, the pieces are starting to be put together in terms of like understanding the map and the world. And, you know, Arwen talks a lot about the ocean, and you really get like a glimpse of, hey, this world is big, you know, and how much is there to it.
First scene.
Yeah.
Aaron standing on the beach. That's the very first scene.
In what?
Of season 3.
Oh, really?
It's Aaron with the long hair, with longer hair, standing on the beach.
Oh. I don't remember that.
Okay.
But
that's like future.
Oh, they just like did a forecast or whatever.
Not foreshot. It's just like flash forward.
Flash forward. There we go. Yeah. But any other things you wanted to touch? I mean, I know we can't talk about everything, but you know, I feel like we really touch base on like at least the most important. Like
Mikasa's about to kill Levi, very last scene of the season, or the first half of episode 12. Mikasa, we got another flash forward.
Yeah, Mikasa's nuts. Her character, I don't like her character anymore.
Don't kill Levi, the best character.
I know, it's like, no, you can't kill the best character. This is like
he did something so bad. He punched Aaron or something. I don't know.
Yeah, her like.
We'll find out what that is.
She's like just like straight. She's like an emotional robot where it's like she cares about this like nothing except for Aaron, but like all she does is like protect Aaron physically. Like she does nothing for her psyche.
Mikasa's cool, but yeah, she could use a third dimension.
Yeah, she really could.
Especially now that I think about it, because I'm not like super on board with you because you don't like Mikasa, but like I'm just kind of like whatever, you know, like she doesn't bother me.
In season 1, I thought she was great. Like she's
But like the scene that really, I know this was played for humor, but was like Aaron and Historia they weren't holding hands. They made a joke about that later, but they were talking, and then Mikasa comes up to her and she's like, "Aaron, you should be resting." It's like they've done this joke before, you know. I was kind of like just now thinking about that. I'm like, you know what? They could do something else with Mikasa, maybe.
Yeah, her character has been the same for so long that you're like, you're over it. You're like, hey, you need to develop just like the rest of these characters are, you know? Like you're getting stagnant, and that's you're dragging not in a drastic way, but like you're dragging these characters down, which is annoying.
Well, I don't know. I'm still okay with her, but yeah.
I really liked her in season 1.
The story's not focusing on her, so it's kind of like whatever.
Right, it's not a big deal that her character has stayed stagnant.
Like Jean, like is pretty. I mean, I guess they've changed like a little bit with like earlier, but I think Jean's hilarious. Jean might be my favorite character actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so funny. He was the one who made the joke about, yeah, if you weren't so busy holding hands with Historia, we could get where just like pushing him at the end there was super funny.
Yeah.
He's great.
I
love how he was just like this like bully, you know, in like episode 3 or whatever, but now he's just like Armin and Aaron are probably you know, better friends obviously, but like I love the relationship between Aaron and John. It's just like so funny.
Yeah, he does.
Like they do like
he brings like this realistic
like
lifelike
John too, earlier did the whole thing with the other whatever. But I just think he's a cool character.
Yeah, I like him too. he brings this very
He's gained
real.
my respect.
Yeah, yeah. So, I like the table scenes. You know, I thought that was like very real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was felt like you got a taste into the minds of like the ranks and like the people as they like sat together. You know, it wasn't very much, but it definitely felt real, and like you're touching base with the characters or the souls of the character. So that was cool. Anything else before we wrap up?
It was a scene with the two other scouts. Sorry, with John, and he like faked them. He like he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll go kill him." Or whatever.
Oh
It
yeah,
was that scene.
that was
I
so
really liked that scene.
good.
I was just
I
like-
know you're like, is he? Wait, what?
I
That was
didn't think
probably
they
one of
didn't-
the best like character scenes all season.
They didn't get me. I knew he was gonna. He was playing something the whole time. But I just thought that was super cool for John to like. I
Yeah,
don't know, just like
really take charge.
yeah, or just like he doesn't. Jean doesn't feel like just a single personality trait. You know, he isn't just like this.
Yeah,
He feels like a human. He
a
feels like a person,
multi-dimensional
you know,
character. Yeah, that's
the story doesn't focus on him, but he feels like a real person. You know.
right. Definitely. No, that was a good
Yeah.
scene. I'm glad you brought that up. That was good. Cool. Well, anything else? That's pretty much all I've got. I mean, we could probably keep chatting forever, but I think that touches on some big points
We
and
gotta
some
go.
things we really liked.
We gotta go see a Pokemon movie.
Yeah, so we're gonna go do that, and we'll be back with. We're actually gonna do another anime podcast here pretty soon on My Hero Academia season 4, 3,
No,
3,
season 3.
season 3.
Season 3.
My Hero Academia season 3. So we'll
Both
be back.
season 3s.
Yeah, both season 3s. So we'll be back pretty soon, hopefully with that. We'll get that recorded. We're looking to get some other stuff recorded for Rival Challenge, and we'll keep you all posted. All right. Anything else? Cool. Alrighty. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Feel free to like and subscribe. If you enjoyed the music, check out the links below for my buddy Jake Schmidt's music. We'll see you next time.